Hello, my lovely Leos. It's Cosima from Cosima Tarot, and today I've done your tea leaf reading. I hope that you've all been well, and let's get started. So I prepared the tea, and I didn't recognize any symbols or nothing popped out that would be of significance, so I went ahead and enjoyed the tea, during which time I did have a moment where I almost lost control of the teacup and some tea spilled out. So I don't know if that was just me. Personally speaking, we have those moments where we can lose our balance for whatever reason. But also because it's so rare for that to happen when I'm drinking tea, I didn't know if it's a reflection of the energy that's going on for you guys. A type of energy almost to say a loss of control, like things are out of your control. Anyways, just, food for thought, so to speak. So I went ahead, I drank the tea, and then I recognized a few symbols for you. So let's start with the first symbol. The first symbol is of a figure, and the figure looks as if there's wind. It's very, very windy. Now, I didn't get the impression one way or another if it's a male or female, but they're wearing clothes and the wind is blowing some of the clothing. Here's one leg. Put a bit closer. Here's one leg, okay? And then here's another leg of the person. And they have these clothes, but it's just getting there's a gush of wind. And here is perhaps an arm, some more clothing, and another. Even if it's a man, some men wear these types of longer cloaks or robes, so to speak. And then here's his head or her head, and something else, whether it's a scarf or there's just a lot of wind surrounding this person, as if there's a strong gust of wind. Now, so that was the first symbol, and I hope you can all see it as well. Basically what this means is a person standing in the wind could be a transition. It could be symbolic of change. It could be symbolic of forces beyond your control, Leo. So you are being swept up in events. It could be indication of emotional turbulence. So I found that very interesting that, like I mentioned previously, when I almost spilled the teacup, I felt a lack of control. So I found it interesting that this symbol itself also symbolizes being swept up and being in a situation that is beyond your control because of external forces. And also it could be a symbol of feeling ungrounded, as if you're at the mercy of external forces. It could also be an indication of an unexpected journey. So that was the first symbol. There's certainly something going on which is very like a strong external force, and you're just trying to stay grounded at this time. And this will play out for all of you differently. So anyways, it's interesting to see this image. The next image I recognized was this tiny little fish above the figure. It's a tiny little fish with a little body here and the tail. So as I mentioned in previous readings that also get little fish in them, that they are representative of money, opportunity, or good luck. So that's a positive sign to see. It could be a modest gain or a new beginning just in the beginning stages, or a new opportunity in the beginning stages. But it could be a modest amount because it's quite a small fish, but nevertheless, it's still a positive symbol. And it could also be a message. Because it's above this figure, in a sense, it's, slightly above. So it could also mean that you're being protected by an influence from above. So some guiding spiritual, whether it's an ancestor, a loved one who's passed on. There are, people looking out for you in that regards. So moving on to the next sign that I saw that this was a backwards letter E, is linked with expression. So whether it's communication via email or emotionally expressing yourself. But the fact that it's backwards, you may be revisiting the past or rethinking a decision that you made, Leo. So, and also because the letter is backwards, it could also mean a miscommunication or a misunderstanding or internalizing some emotions instead of sharing how you feel. So, and then the last symbol here was a circle. But as you can see, the circle is not a perfect circle, it's an imperfect circle. So this could indicate some recurring pattern or an unresolved issue. But circles in general, they mean that cycles are coming to an end, so completion of a goal. I'd say that I am hopeful that things will resolve, because even though, you know, the appearance of this figure who's caught in this very strong wind, even though this is occurring right now and you may feel unbalanced and not grounded, this little fish is above the person. And as I mentioned previously, it is of luck, money, and opportunity. So you may be also reflecting on things that happened in the past with this backwards E, that some communication or misunderstanding, something was not, it didn't play out the way you wanted to or wished it had. But the cycle is coming to an end, although there has been, you know, perhaps maybe a repetitive pattern of unfinished business. But I'm hopeful that this cycle that you guys are going through will come to a conclusion. So these are the messages that appeared for you at this time, Leo. You may be going through, you know, certainly a transition or change. But I would say, Leos, you are very strong in nature, and to just keep holding on. And, you know, I'm sure you'll be reflecting on certain things that happened, but just keep in mind you had that small fish in your reading, and that fish are good news, good opportunities, messages coming in, and being protected by loved ones, whether from the past or even presently, you know, with us here. You know, that you have some guiding spirits and positivity around you. So please don't lose hope, and just keep your head up, and I will see you on the next video. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll keep my fingers crossed that everything will resolve very quickly for you, and then you'll be, you know, back on the excellent path that you always are, Leo. Okay, thank you. Bye.